This is an official notice of intent to commence foreclosure proceedings. That's the first line of the letter I opened on a Tuesday morning. From my HOA. They weren't just threatening to fine me. They weren't just threatening to sue me. They were threatening to take my home, to foreclose on it. All of it. Over something so small, so trivial, so utterly unbelievable that if I told you right now, you wouldn't believe me. Before we dive into the nightmare that almost cost me everything, do me a favor. If you ever felt powerless against an HOA, or you just know that this is a story you need to hear, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Behind the HOA stories is your front row seat to the battles nobody sees coming, and the lessons we can all learn from them. What you're about to hear, you're going to want to be here for the next one. Let's rewind. It was last summer. My family and I had finally done it. We bought our dream home in a quiet, tree-lined community in Arizona. The kind of place with perfectly manicured lawns and friendly neighbors who waved as you drove by. The HOA fees were a bit steep, but we thought, okay, that's the price for peace of mind, for maintained common areas, for protecting our property values. For the first few months, it was perfect. We followed the rules to the letter. Our trash cans were never out too early or too late. Our grass was never a millimeter too high. We were, for all intents and purposes, model homeowners. Then, my daughter Lily turned 7. For her birthday, her grandmother gave her a beautiful hand-painted garden gnome. It wasn't big, maybe a foot tall. It had a bright blue hat and a cheerful smile. Lily adored it. She named him Gnome and insisted he live right next to our front porch. To guard the house, she said. It made her happy. It made us happy. It was a tiny splash of color and joy in our little corner of the world. We didn't think anything of it. It was a garden ornament. People have them all the time. The first letter arrived 2 weeks later. It was on crisp, official HOA letterhead. Violation notice. Unapproved lawn ornament. CC&R 2.4.7. All exterior decorations, ornaments, and figurines must be pre-approved by the Architectural Review Committee. Please remove the unauthorized item immediately to avoid further action. I almost laughed. A violation? For a gnome? I figured it was a mistake. A simple misunderstanding. I called the HOA management company the next day. I spoke to a woman named Brenda. Her tone was icy. I explained it was a child's birthday gift, that it was small, that we'd be happy to submit a form for approval. She cut me off. The committee meets quarterly. The next meeting is in 11 weeks. The item must be removed now. The rules are very clear. I started to feel a prickling of annoyance. This was bureaucracy at its most absurd. But not want to make waves. I told Lily we had to bring Nomi inside for a little while until we got some special permission. She was heartbroken. I felt like a villain in my own home. To appease her, we put Nomi on the mantelpiece inside, looking out the window. I filled out the 17-page architectural review form for a 1-foot-tall gnome and mailed it in. I thought that was the end of it. It was only the beginning. 3 days later, another letter. This one was less polite. Second notice. Fines assessed. A fine of $50 has been applied to your account for failure to comply. An additional $50 will be added for every week the violation persists. My blood ran cold. A fine? For a gnome that wasn't even outside anymore? I called again. I was calmer this time, but firm. I explained the situation again. I told them the form was submitted. The woman on the phone, Brenda again, said the fine was for the initial violation period. The fact that I had eventually complied did not negate the fine. The debt was now on my account. I refused to pay it, on principle. It was outrageous. I sent a polite but firm email to the HOA board president, explaining the situation. I received no reply. A month went by. The fine stacked up, $50 a week. My account was now showing a debt of $250. Then the letters changed tone. They were no longer about the gnome. They were about the unpaid fines. Final notice, delinquent account, intent to lien. They were going to put a lien on my house, over $250 in unjust fines. The panic started to set in. This was no longer absurd. It was dangerous. I tried to reason with them. I offered to pay the original $50 fine if they would just drop the rest and call it even. I was trying to de-escalate. Their response? The payment must be for full amount, plus a $150 administrative fee. Total, $400. An administrative fee? For what? For sending me threatening letters? I dug my heels in. I wasn't paying a dime. This was a shakedown. Then the letter came, the one from the beginning. It wasn't from the management company. It was from a law firm, the HOA's lawyers. Notice of default and election to sell. Pursuant to the powers vested in the association by the covenants, conditions, and restrictions and state law, you are hereby notified that the association has elected to foreclose upon its lien for the delinquent assessment balance of $400. My hand was shaking. I had to read it 3 times. The words blurred together. Foreclose. Sell. Delinquent. $400. They were going to start the process to take my house. My home. The one with a mortgage we paid on time every month. Over $400. Over a child's garden gnome. The world just stopped. This wasn't frustration anymore. This was pure, unadulterated terror. How could this be legal? How could a homeowners association have this much power? My mind raced to the worst-case scenarios. My family homeless, my credit destroyed, my daughter's life upended. All because of gnome. After the panic came a cold, hard rage, and then a resolve I didn't know I possessed. They had picked a fight with the wrong homeowner. I wasn't a lawyer, but I knew how to research. I spent every night for 2 weeks buried in Arizona state statutes. I read the Arizona revised statutes. This is the moment where knowledge becomes power. This is exactly why I started this channel, Behind the HOA Stories. To pull back the curtain on the immense and often terrifying power these associations wield, and to show you how to fight back. We are a community here. If you're going through your own HOA nightmare, you are not alone. Share your story in the comments below. What's the most ridiculous violation you've ever gotten? And if you're learning from this, if you're feeling empowered, pay it forward. Share this video with one person you know who might need to see it. Let's get these stories out there. Let's hold these powerful organizations accountable. Now, back to how I turned the tables. I didn't call the law firm. I didn't call the management company. I went straight to the source. I emailed the entire HOA board directors. My subject line was, formal demand for hearing and intent to pursue legal action for violation of 33 to 1803 Argentine pesos. I attached a PDF. In it, I calmly and methodically laid out my case. I quoted their CC&Rs, highlighting the hearing requirement they ignored. I quoted the Arizona state law, citing the specific statute they violated by threatening foreclosure without a court judgment. I attached copies of all the letters they had sent me. I ended the email with this sentence. I trust you will immediately cease all foreclosure proceedings, remove all fines and fees from my account, and provide a written confirmation of the same. If I do not receive this confirmation within 48 hours, I will have no choice but to file a complaint with the Arizona Department of Real Estate and retain counsel to pursue all available legal remedies against each of you personally as board members. The threat to sue them personally was key. Board members are often volunteers. Their personal assets are usually protected unless they act outside of the law. I was letting them know I knew they had crossed that line. I sent the email at 9:15 a.m. At 11:07 a.m., my phone rang. It was the HOA board president. His voice was completely different from Brenda's. It was conciliatory, almost nervous. He apologized. He said there had been a grave error in the management company's procedures, that the hearing had been inadvertently overlooked, that the foreclosure notice was a standard template, that was sent in error and should never have been used for a fine-based lien. He assured me that all fines and fees were being wiped from my account immediately. He promised to send a formal letter from their lawyer confirming the withdrawal of the foreclosure action. He even said the board would review the management company's contract. I stayed quiet and let him talk. When he was done, I simply said, "Thank you for resolving this. I will expect the written confirmation by end of day today." And I hung up. The letter from the law firm arrived by email 2 hours later. The subject line, withdrawal of notice of default. I won. Gnome is back outside. He's guarding the porch again. But the story doesn't end here. My fight exposed something rotten within our HOA. It wasn't just about me. This was happening to other people. People who were too scared or didn't know their rights. Which is why I decided to run for the HOA board myself. And what I discovered after I got elected shocked me even more. The financial mismanagement. I found the sweetheart deals from management company. The secrets buried in the budgets. That's a story for next time. A story you will not believe. So if you want to know what I found when I got inside the machine, you have to make sure you don't miss the next video. This is behind the HOA stories. Remember, know your rights, fight back, and never, ever underestimate a homeowner with their back against the wall. See you in the next one.